Hello, sir. Thank you so much for your time and speaking with us today. Given your expertise in the significant real estate and redevelopment law, your insights into the complex domain are invaluable. So, let's begin with our questionnaire for today. From the purely legal standpoint, just how complex is the redevelopment landscape in Mumbai and the MMR region? What are the fundamental legal factors that contribute to the complexity, setting it apart from perhaps simpler real estate transactions?
As I was telling you, it's a really complex process, more of a confluence of the old laws, new regulations, and statutory authorities like MAHDA and the social structure of the cooperative societies. Any mistake can lead to hazardous consequences, including injunctions, inordinate delays. It then becomes more of a legal compliance process rather than a construction and development process. So, therefore, it's extremely important to have compliance of these laws. As far as MAHDA is concerned, the process is quite complex. First of all, you have to understand the lease conditions laid down by MAHDA or the collector. Then you have to have specific interpretations. Then you have to have specific compliances under the MAHDA Act. In fact, more of it is compliance oriented rather than interpretation oriented. Therefore, MAHDA land and collector land requires specific interpretation of law and compliance, and therefore it's a very complex process. Cessed buildings on MAHDA land require a unique legal framework, and therefore it's a complex process in itself. It requires deep interpretation of MAHDA Act and other acts related to the cessed buildings. In fact, the Development Control Regulation is one of the acts which requires to be pulled into so as to enable us to interpret how far we can go with cessed buildings. As far as private lands are concerned, they require rigorous title searches, historical title searches as well, going back to 30 years, etc. And we ensure that there are no encumbrances on the land. As far as lands belonging to the trust are concerned, they require specific permissions under the Trusts Act from the Office of the Charity Commissioner, and there are specific compliances thereafter that we have to ensure insofar as the development of the land is concerned. As far as lands under the Coastal Regulation Zone, that is CRZ, are concerned, they require very different permissions. In fact, permissions from the Environment Authority are a must. All the experts who are working in that field have to be adept in coming across these challenges and overcoming them. In fact, CRZ regulations are so stringent that no one can develop land without compliances from the environment authorities or other authorities that are attached to the coastal regulation zone. As far as the SRA is concerned, right from gathering the project to approvals from the SRA requires a lot of interdepartmental communication. In fact, some provisions are misread or maybe misunderstood by the authorities. That is when the lawyers come in and give legal representation so far as interpretation of these provisions are concerned. What happens majorly is that sometimes these miscommunications and misinterpretation of the law creates a hurdle in the project, and the project gets stalled for years together, and the ultimate sufferers are the people for whose benefit this project is to be made or constructed. As far as BMC is concerned, they have a very stringent policy to be adhered to under the development control regulations. And as far as the new development control regulations are concerned, a lot of changes have been made, including changes related to environment, changes related to fire safety, etc., which are compulsory. And maybe in a small project, sometimes it may not be, it's not possible for a developer to comply to these projects. So therefore, it becomes difficult, and it's a big challenge as far as the day-to-day construction or the approvals are concerned. But nevertheless, good architects, good lawyers come into the picture, and then they advise on these sort of hurdles. And hopefully they take up the challenge, and they just interpret the law to benefit the people. As far as the Pagadi system goes, it is governed under the Maharashtra Rent Control Act. And the Maharashtra Rent Control Act ensures that the tenants and the landlord secure their rights in various ways. Now, as far as the projects where the landlords and tenants are concerned, uh, most of the times the tenants often litigate in courts fighting for their tenancy rights. And there have been instances where people who are not tenants and have been occupying rooms and still go to court litigating saying that we are the tenants. So it's a complex process under the Rent Control Act. The Rent Control Act is there to ensure the rights of the tenants as well as the landlords. But more often, there is a conflict between landlord and tenants as far as the area after redevelopment is concerned, or who's going to get the reconstructed area, because there are disputes inter se between the tenants as far as their tenancy is concerned. So it's a complex process, requires a lot of legal interpretation and lot of litigation which may come up in that area of redevelopment. As far as redevelopment specifically relating to the cooperative societies is concerned, the Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act comes into the picture. More often, members of the society have internal disputes with the managing committee. There are resolutions passed by the managing committee which don't fall favor with the members of the society, and these resolutions are subject to challenge under the Cooperative Societies Act. Now, all these cases are fought either in the civil courts or under the Cooperative Societies Act, the cooperative court that is formulated under the Cooperative Societies Act. Any illegal resolution which may create a hurdle can be challenged in the courts. So therefore, it is very important from the managing committee point of view that there is complete adherence of the Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act, because these litigations often stall the project and the redevelopment takes a hit, which also is not commercially viable for the members of the society or the developer who is going to redevelop the project. Another challenge that the cooperative societies face is the conveyance. Now, there are cooperative societies who have been formed long back, maybe 20 years, 30 years, and there is no conveyance of the plot of land on which the society is built. Now, in such scenarios, there has to be strong legal compliance or rectification of the documents, or perhaps deemed conveyance in certain cases where the owners or developers who have sold the society the flats or the apartments cannot be found. So in such scenarios, a different law is established and different procedure is established for deemed conveyance, etc. Otherwise, the remedy lies in the civil court. First and foremost, depending on the type of development that we are doing, we must ensure thorough drafting of the agreements with various personnel involved in terms of the redevelopment agreement. As far as cooperative societies is concerned, drafting special SGBM meetings, drafting of your agendas, etc., has to be very specific. Secondly, there has to be compliance of the Corporation Act in terms of taking NOCs from various authorities involved, such as the corporation, MHADA, for example, and various other departments like the fire department, NOC, etc., which are very crucial for the project. Thirdly, there should be a thorough compliance of the RERA Act at every stage of the project, which ensures that there is timely construction and the delivery of the construction is in time, within time. Otherwise, the tenants or the members of the society are also affected, and the developers end up losing money. So therefore, these four major concerns have to be addressed at the beginning so that there is a smooth process that goes on. Like I've mentioned earlier, there has to be a statutory compliance of the MHADA regulations and the BMC regulations thoroughly. Secondly, the draft of the agreement that is made between the various persons concerned, that is the managing committee of the society, be it the landlords or the tenants or third parties involved, it has to be a thoroughly drafted agreement, and it has to comply with all regulations such as the DCR regulations, etc. Keeping in mind all these things, a specifically designed contract for every transaction is very much required. Thirdly, there has to be NOCs granted from various authorities like the fire department or the corporation or MHADA, whichever authority is involved at that particular stage, be it coastal regulation, coastal regulatory authority. And fourthly, to avoid any litigation under the Cooperative Societies Act, the SGBMs have to be drafted correctly so that there is no dispute regarding these meetings and no challenges, so that the construction is timely and it complies with everything. It is an absolute myth that there is some time limit prescribed only after which a certain building can go in for redevelopment. Like a 25-year-old building can only go for redevelopment. However, it all depends on the structure of the building. The structural audit must be done, and it also depends on the will of the people. As far as the cessed buildings are concerned, the age alone does not determine whether the building can go for redevelopment or not. In fact, it is the structural condition of the building that determines whether the building is hazardous, dilapidated, etc., etc., wherein the authorities take a call to redevelop the building. No one can get an area beyond what is prescribed under the DCR rules. In fact, there is another myth where people say that the tenants can be evicted without following due process of law. It is not so. Everyone has to follow due process of law, without which no one can be thrown out of their premises. This is the biggest myth that people understand and are apprehensive about in terms of redevelopment. It is extremely important to have a legal service right from day one when the project is starting. In fact, right from the society's end, from the tenant's end, from the occupant's end, or from the developer's end, ensuring that all legal complexities are taken care of right throughout the project is very essential for the project. In fact, if there are, like I said, if there are no proper drafts or proper agendas drafted or proper meetings conducted or violation of any other statutes, it can cost the developer as well as the tenants or the members of the society a lot of money, time, energy, which otherwise would have been utilized for a greater purpose. In fact, it would be great if one has the service of someone who handholds from day one and clears out all the legal necessities which are required for projects of complex redevelopment, etc. It would work wonders if someone really works hard and eases out the process for the developer as well as the tenants. See, the term quick real estate should mean efficient legal groundwork and not cutting corners. Redevelopment requires a structured legal compliance, and therefore firms like Bullet would really add value in terms of coordinating with the legal teams, organizing the documents, etc., which is a very big value add for law firms and other authorities. Such partnerships, in fact, promote a more dispute-free, professional, legal ecosystem, which is very much required for a redevelopment or a development project across the city. In fact, what Bullet Redevelopment is doing is a wonderful thought process where the lawyers could benefit from the hard work that is done by Bullet Redevelopment in terms of processing documents, etc., and streamlining the documents for lawyers, and where they can utilize their energies to in a much better way for interpretation of the law, etc., and ease out the process for the developers, for the law firms, legal experts who are in this field. In fact, the cooperative societies who do not have experts readily available can immensely benefit from the work that Bullet Redevelopment is doing, especially streamlining the whole process of redevelopment right from day 1 to day 0. Bullet Redevelopment building जरूर बनेगी.